Welcome back. So in the morning session, we have seen the prose, the portrait of a lady written by Kushal Singh. I've already told you, this lesson talks about the beautiful relationship between the grandson and his grandmother. In the morning class, I read about the grandmother, how old she was. She had a wrinkled face. She was so old, she used to tell a lot of stories to the grandchildren, especially the author. So this story revolves between two people. The characters are so simple in the story. One, the grandmother. The other one is the author, Kushwant Singh. And the author talks about the grandfather's portrait. He looked at least 100 years old, and he wore a turban. He wore loose-fitting clothes. And he had a long beard that covered the most part of his chest. And the grandmother was always short, fat and slightly bent. She hobbled about the house in white dress. She always counts the beads of her rosary, counting beads. You might have seen a lot of saints counting beads like that. They'll be in a meditating position and they will be counting beads. Right? You might have seen a lot of people counting beads. Beads, I've already shown you the picture. And she was constantly doing prayers, and that was inaudible. Nobody can't hear what she was praying. So, and then the grandmother and the author were very good friends. The grandmother helped the author in so many ways. She used to wake him up in the morning and get him ready for school. She said her morning prayers were monotonous. Monotonous means boring, and destined with the hope that she would learn it by heart. But the author never bothered to learn it. He listened to those songs because the author loved the grandmother's voice, nothing else. And she gave him the bundle, which comprises of a slate, earthen ink pot, and a red ink. And they carried several stale chapatis to the village dogs. And then the school was attached to the temple. Both the grandmother and the grandson went to the school because the school was attached to the temple. On one side, the grandson will be studying the alphabets taught by the priest. On the other side, in the temple, the grandmother spent her time reading holy scriptures. Here comes an important turning point in their life. The parents sent for them. They need to go to the city. Here everything is different. Comparing a village school to a city school, everything is different. The author had to go to school by bus, so there is no need for the grandmother to accompany him. And there is no dogs to feed, so she switched to feeding sparrows. Shall we continue? I'm going to continue page number 2.
Continuation, page number 2. As the years rolled by, we saw less of each other. For some time, she continued to wake me up and get me ready for school. When I came back, she would ask me what the teacher had taught me. I would tell her English words and little things of Western science and learning, the law of gravity, Archimedes' principle, the world being round, etc. This made her unhappy. She could not help me with my lessons. She did not believe in the things they taught at the English school and was distressed that there was no teaching about God and the scriptures. One day I announced that we were being given music lessons. She said nothing, but her silence meant disapproval. She rarely talked to me after that. Years rolled by. They saw less of each other. Sometimes she would ask him what the teacher had taught. She did not believe in the things they taught at the English medium school. She was unhappy. She did not like English or science. She felt sad that there was no teaching about God and the scriptures at the school. The narrator one day told her that they were being given music lessons. She was disturbed. She thought music quite indecent. It was not meant for gentlefolk. From this paragraph, we can understand that in the village school, the author had studied alphabet and learned to recite morning prayers. But in the city, he was taught English words and Western science. She also learned the law of gravity, Archimedes' principle, the world being round, so on. So this disturbed the grandmother. When I went up to university, I was given a room of my own. The common link of friendship was snapped. My grandmother accepted her seclusion with resignation. She rarely left her spinning wheel to talk to anyone. From sunrise to sunset, she sat by her wheel, spinning and reciting prayers. Only in the afternoon she relaxed for a while to feed the sparrows. While she sat in the veranda, breaking the bread into little bits, hundreds of little birds collected round her, creating a veritable bedlam of chirruping. Some came and perched on her legs, others on her shoulders. I'm reading page number 3, last line. Some even sat on her head. She smiled but never shooed them away. It is used to be the happiest half hour of the day for her. Explanation of this paragraph. So the narrator went to university. He was given a room of his own. The common link of friendship was broken. Snapped means cut, broken. My grandmother accepted her seclusion, which means loneliness, isolation. So the grandmother accepted her loneliness. She was always busy with a spinning wheel and reciting prayers. She rarely talked to anyone. In the afternoon, she relaxed for a while. Then she would feed the sparrows. She sat in a veranda. She broke the bread into little bits. Then she would throw them to sparrows. Hundreds of sparrows came there. They created a hell of a noise. Some came and sat on her legs. Others would sit on her shoulders. Some would sit even on her head. She smiled but never frightened them away. Feeding the sparrows was the happiest half hour of the day for her. When I decided to go abroad for further studies, I was sure my grandmother would be upset. I would be away for 5 years, and at her age, one could never tell. But my grandmother could. She was not even sentimental. She came to leave me at the railway station but did not talk or show any emotion. Her lips moved in prayer. Her mind was lost in prayer. Her fingers were busy telling the beads of a rosary. Silently she kissed my forehead, and when I left, I cherished the moist imprint as perhaps the last sign of physical contact between us. So, again, page number 3, I'm explaining this paragraph. The narrator decided to go abroad for higher studies. He was to remain away for 5 years. The grandmother was very old. She could die any moment. The narrator was worried, but the grandmother was not upset. She showed no emotion. She came to the railway station to see him off. Her lips moved in prayer. Her mind was lost in prayer. Her fingers were busy telling the beads of a rosary. She kissed his forehead silently. The narrator thought that it was the last sign of physical contact between them. Continuing in page number 3, next paragraph, I'm reading. But that was not so. After 5 years, I came back home and was met by her at the station. She did not look a day older. She still had no time for words, and while she clasped me in her arms, I could hear her reciting her prayers. Even on the first day of my arrival, her happiest moments were with her sparrows, whom she fed longer and with frivolous rebukes. So, explanation of this paragraph. The narrator returned home after 5 years. His grandmother met him at the station. She did not look a day older. She did not speak anything. She held him in her arms. She went on reciting her prayers. In the afternoon, she fed the sparrows as usual. Next paragraph in page number 3. In the evening, a change came over her. She did not pray. She collected the women of the neighborhood, got an old drum, and started to sing. For several hours, she thumped the sagging skins of the dilapidated drum and sang of the homecoming of warriors. We had to persuade her to stop to avoid overstraining. That was the first time since I had known her that she did not pray. In the evening, a change came over her. The grandmother did not pray. She collected the women of the neighborhood. She got an old drum. She continued thumping the old drum for several hours. She started singing. She sang of the homecoming of the warriors. So the family members had to convince the grandmother to stop in order to avoid overstraining. It was for the first time that she had forgotten to pray. I'm reading in page number 3. Last two lines. The next morning, she was taken ill. It was a mild fever, and the doctor told that it would go. But my grandmother thought differently. She told us that her end was near. She said that since only a few hours before the close of the last chapter of her life, she had omitted to pray, she was not going to waste any more time talking to us. So, explanation. The grandmother was diagnosed with a mild fever by the doctor, but she insisted that her end was near. She told everyone that she did not want to talk to anyone and would rather spend her last moments praying. Page number 4 to your left hand side, second paragraph. We protested, but she ignored our protests. She lay peacefully in bed, praying and telling her beads. Even before we could suspect, her lips stopped moving and the rosary fell from her lifeless fingers. A peaceful pallor spread on her face, and we knew that she was dead. The grandmother ignored the family members' request. She lay peacefully in bed. She was praying and telling beads. Then her lips stopped moving. The rosary fell down from her lifeless fingers. Her face looked pale but peaceful. She was dead. There is a word called pallor. You can see in the last two lines, a peaceful pallor spread on her face. What is meant by pallor? Pallor is an unhealthy pale appearance. So that spread on the grandmother's face. From that, the family members understand that she was dead. Last paragraph, page number 4. We lifted her off the bed and, as is customary, laid her on the ground and covered her with a red shroud. After a few hours of mourning, we left her alone to make arrangements for her funeral. In the evening, we went to her room with a crude stretcher to take her to be cremated. The sun was setting and had lit her room and veranda with a blaze of golden light. We stopped halfway in the courtyard. All over the veranda and in her room, right up to where she lay dead and stiff wrapped in the red shroud, thousands of sparrows sat scattered on the floor. There was no chirruping. We felt sorry for the birds, and my mother fetched some bread for them. She broke it into little crumbs, the way my grandmother used to, and threw it to them. The sparrows took no notice of the bread. When we carried my grandmother's corpse off, they flew away quietly. Next morning, the sweeper swept the breadcrumbs into the dustbin. The grandmother was laid on the ground. Explanation of the last paragraph. The grandmother was laid on the ground. She was covered with a red shawl. Arrangements for her funeral were being made. It was evening. The sun was setting. They brought a wooden stretcher. They stopped halfway in the courtyard. Thousands of sparrows sat near her dead body. They did not chirrup. Everyone felt sorry for the birds. The narrator's mother brought some bread. She broke it into little crumbs. She threw these crumbs to the sparrows. The birds took no notice of them. Then they carried her dead body outside. The sparrows flew away quietly. The crumbs of the bread still remained lying there in the courtyard. Evidently, the sparrows had come to mourn the death of the grandmother. With that, the story ends. Now let's see the summary. The writer used to go to the city school on a school bus and studied subjects like English, physics, mathematics, and many more subjects those his grandmother could not understand at all. His grandmother could no longer go to school with him to send him. She felt upset that there was no teaching about God and scriptures at the city school. Instead, he was given music lessons, but she said nothing. When the writer went to a university, he got a separate room in his house. The common link of the relationship between the grandson and the grandmother was broken now. Grandmother rarely talked to anyone in the house now. She spent plenty of her time sitting beside her spinning wheel and reciting prayers of God. She started feeding the sparrow birds in the afternoon. When the writer left for abroad for his further studies, his grandmother did not get disturbed at all. Rather, she saw him off at the airport. Seeing her grandmother at this old age, the writer was thinking that it might be his last meeting with his grandmother. But when he came back home after a duration of 5 years, his grandmother was there to welcome him back and he saw her celebrate his return. The next morning, after the return of his grandson, she got ill. Although the doctor told her that it was slight fever and would go away very soon, still she could foresee that her time to leave this world was near. She did not want to waste her time talking to someone. She went to her bed, praying and telling the beads till her lips stopped moving and the rosary fell down from her lifeless hand. To grieve her death, thousands of sparrows flew in and sat dispersed around her body. All the sparrows flew away without making any noise when the dead body of the old lady was carried away for the last rites. Conclusion of the portrait of a lady. To sum up the portrait of a lady summary, the writer and his grandmother had a beautiful bond between them and loved each other a lot. The story tells us how beautiful a relationship can become between a grandson and his grandmother. With this, the story ends. Thank you.